Welcome to the Gal's Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Leah, and I am joined by Bonnie and Katie and Amy talking about our one cool naturalist gal. So, Amy already talked about Janaki Amal. Is that right?
Yes,
Yay!
ma'am.
I don't know why I always like do a double check. And then I think Bonnie talked about Jean Stratton Porter.
Sure did.
Yay! Look at that. I got it. But before we dive back in, I'm actually going to have Amy tell you what is going on with the Gal's Guide calendar for this week. Take it away, Amy.
For week 3, the week of April 18th through the 24th, it's Fairyville. Wednesday through Saturday, the whole town of Noblesville becomes a fairy festival. It's a really cool event.
It's very cool.
Very cool. Starting with a scavenger hunt, it appears the fairies have misplaced magic dust jars all over the Gal's Guide library, and they need you to help find them. If you can find all the jars, you get a certificate of fairy awesomeness.
Nice.
It's super cute.
I'm sure there's glitter. The hunt is on Wednesday through Friday, 12 to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 5. Gal's Guide will have a booth on the Fairyville Trail with new merch featuring Gigi, our #Flat Squirrel. Remember Flat Stanley? Well, we have a printout of an adorable squirrel that we're asking people to take pictures with this year. It's the 200th anniversary of the Great Squirrel Stampede
Totally
in
a thing.
Noblesville.
Oh, I haven't told you that story yet?
Oh, buckle up. Hungry squirrels from the east appeared like locusts and decimated crops and destroyed manicured lawns.
Yep.
Now
Little
in 2022, we've made peace with our squirrel sisters and brothers and celebrate them.
Yep.
We celebrate them so much, we'll have a special appearance by Marvel's unbeatable Squirrel Girl,
Nice.
the upbeat superhero who likes to eat nuts and kick butts.
Yeah, she does.
She will be at the Gal's Guide booth on Saturday, April 23rd from 10 to 5. For more Fairyville news and printouts for our #Flat Squirrel, visit galsguide.org.
Yay! There is Gigi, our flat squirrel. She's
Eat
here.
nuts and kick
Gigi
butts.
is lovely.
Isn't she so cute? She's adorable. Yeah, so I'm super excited. Thank you so much for doing the glorious. So I have a random question that I want to know. What is your favorite season to explore nature? Which of the 4, and I'll give you a 5th season, construction. Wherever you want to put that glorious season. It's one of the reasons why I don't like Michigan, because it only has 2 seasons. Winter. Wait, 3 seasons. Winter. Oh my God, it's still winter. How the hell is it still winter? And construction. 4 seasons. Don't everybody answer at once.
Okay,
Katie,
okay.
go for it.
I enjoy all of the seasons except winter.
Ah, that is totally fair.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just saying that because it's a little miserable around here. We're just being teased. We're being
Right.
taunted.
Yeah.
We'll have a warm day, and then I'm shivering, and we're having these gusts of wind.
I think we're being
Um,
punked. Yeah.
I think so. But I have to say, I probably notice spring the most.
Yeah.
I love fall because my birthday's there,
Yes,
but
it
it's that whole
is.
reactionary winter's gone and things are starting to bloom again and look pretty and look green again. So spring's pretty awesome for being
Same.
outdoors and just absorbing some of that sun.
Yeah. That's
Looking at
fair.
all the pretty stuff sprouting.
Sprout.
I've got daffodils in my yard.
Ooh,
I do too.
daffodils. I love it. Yes,
There was
Bonnie.
staring at me. No, I like the spring and summer. 'Cause I don't like the cold.
See,
And why do you live in Indiana?
I know.
you ask?
I was
No.
thinking that in my head, but I was
Yes.
like, Indiana's not as bad as, let's say, Michigan.
Michigan.
This is the hating on Michigan month. I'm so sorry.
No, but as I'm gonna steal one from Jess at Roots and Refuge.
Yeah.
That I am a frost tender flower. I'm always cold.
Frost tender flower.
What is your hardiness
I like
zone?
Not Indiana.
Right, exactly. Not what this is.
I was getting so mad. I was watching some of my favorite like gardening people on YouTube, and they're like most of them are in like California.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, I'm growing citrus trees, and I'm like, you can shove it.
You get to grow, exactly.
Me.
Screw you and your citrus year round. It's a fair assessment, yes.
Yes.
Amy, what about you?
I really like the fall. I know
Yes.
that there doesn't seem as much to see because there's no leaves and no plants, but I really like the crunchy
Yes.
leaf sound.
That's where I'm at too. Yeah.
And not having the leaves, you can see more. You can see the birds better.
Yep.
You can see deer a lot because you
Yeah.
can see them from farther off. At least here, I guess I'm talking about just exploring Indiana.
Right. Totally fair.
But yeah, I really like fall. Just, I like the leaves. I like the sight line, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's
legit.
not hot.
Yes.
I'm not sweaty.
Yes. See, that's where I'm right with you with fall. Fall is
Mhm.
absolutely my favorite too. It always feels like, winter. I don't like coats, so I'm always fighting that. Can I brave it? Can I get
Yeah.
pneumonia today? Let's find out. And then spring, it's kind of the rainy of, do I need another coat because it's
Mhm.
raining outside? Damn it, I don't want a coat. And then summer, I'm just passed out, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, heat stroke is a thing and I can't survive it. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, there's 1 week during fall where I'm like, it's perfect. I don't have to
Yeah.
wear a coat. Everything makes a sound because it's all crunchy. I feel like going outside because the world's starting to get quiet and stuff.
and just
I
the light,
love it.
the blue of the sky.
Yeah,
in
and
fall,
golden hour lasts even longer.
Yes,
So
just the angle makes
Mhm.
the blue so blue. I don't know.
Yep.
I really love just walking through the woods in fall if I'm going to be out in nature.
yep.
But
I
then
wish.
I also love the beach, and I love to snorkel and look underwater. So
see, I kind of wish Halloween was 1 or 2 weeks earlier because it seems like now Halloween it's sometimes going to snow on you and it's
Yes.
too damn cold.
You're
But,
from,
like,
you're
yeah.
from Indiana if your Halloween costume fits over your snowsuit.
Exactly. Right.
Yep.
Because you're probably going to need it. And now I'm like, there's many times in October that I'm like, why isn't this week Halloween and all the
know.
neighbors are out and we're on the street? It'd be fun. So, yes.
But if you trick or treat on snow
fall.
Halloween, you get the whole bowl because no one else
This is true.
out there.
Nobody wants to be out. They want to be
No.
done with it.
Yeah,
That's
no.
very accurate.
My son will drag me out. It does not matter. The umbrella can be blown inside out,
Right.
but we are trick or treating.
And we're going to get all the candy
Yeah, we're
this
taking
time.
the whole bowl. It is
Mhm.
4 degrees, but we are out there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of crack it up. A couple years ago, we actually got like an inch of snow or something.
Right?
And that was like the year that Frozen came out, and everyone's out there
In their
in
Elsa.
Frozen costumes in the snow.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
It's like the Frost Princess was awakened that particular Indiana fall. Well, do you guys want to hear about my lady?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My lady is not necessarily tied to any particular season. I just wanted an excuse to talk about fall. Because I was like, ooh. Okay, so my lady goes back to 1647.
Holy
Nice.
I'm going to the way backs, y'all. Okay, so she was born in Germany and she died in the Netherlands. She is not a name that you hear that often, but you have probably seen her work in one way or another. So her name is Maria Sibylla. There we go. Sibylla Merian. She was a naturalist and a nature artist who was known for her illustrations of insects and plants. We were kind of briefly talking about her in an early episode. Well, about the work that she does. So her father was an illustrator and died when she was 3 years old. Her mother got remarried to a still life painter.
She had a type.
Yep.
She did have a type and she stuck right to it. Her stepfather, who is Jacob Morale, taught her how to draw and how to paint. She became like a little protege. So little Maria would collect insects for her stepfather's work until she started her own caterpillar and butterfly collection that was just for her. So keeping more of the artist nature in the family, Maria decided to marry her stepfather's apprentice. Because once you have a blueprint, you just stick to it. So Maria and Johann Andreas Graf is her husband's name. They married in 1665. They had a daughter and they moved to Nuremberg. So in Nuremberg, she was there for about 14 years, so a good long bit of her time she was there. And she created a series of watercolor engravings of flowers. Most of her work was spent on this 3-volume set. So there was 3 of these, and it was called the Blumbuch, which means Book of Flowers. Glorious German. But if 3 volumes were not enough, later she did a reprinting and she called it Neues Blumenbach. Anybody have a guess of what that is?
The newest one.
It's the new Book of Flowers. Right? So, but in her book of her engravings and illustrations, she also included observations. She also showed the insects and the habitats that were with the plants as well. And she was showing what food that the insects were eating. Her observations, according to this New York Times article, quote, help dispel the popular belief that insects spontaneously emerge from the mud. The knowledge that she collected over the decades didn't just satisfy those, curious about nature, but also provided valuable insights. Pina coladas are tonight, by the way.
It's falling apart.
But provided valuable insights into medicine and science. End quote, New York Times. Thank you. So Maria followed up her book of the new Book of Flowers with what else but caterpillars. I love this title. So this is the title of her follow-up book, Caterpillars, Their Wondrous Transformation and Peculiar Nourishment from Flowers.
But what is that in German?
I had it and I didn't bother to put it down. But it was in German and it had a lot of consonants in it. But that book was extremely detailed and it actually set a new standard for scientific illustration. She was the first one to include the full life cycle as well as look as their existence in a wider world of what they were eating and what other wildlife was around them at the time. Because she was, of course, a multitasker in these 1660s, she had another baby while she was working on all of these books in German. She also moved around to take care of her ailing mother. And she was also part of a Labadis colony for a while. I briefly looked up what a Labadis was, and it's a separatist group of pious people who believe they are very godly, so they must act very godly. So, a really fun group at parties. But at that colony, she did some paintings.
I immediately thought leper colony.
It's not a leper colony. It's a cult colony sort of thing.
Colony.
Yes. When regular religion isn't strict enough.
Okay.
Then that's pretty much, yes, exactly.
You take it to the next level.
And then you take it to the level after that. Yes. But in 1691, there's a 9 in it. All right. So in 1691, Maria and her daughters moved to Amsterdam and she got divorced. I'm kind of wondering what happened at the colony.
You could just do that in 1690.
If you're in Amsterdam, you can do a lot of things in Amsterdam that you can't do in other places. But yeah, 1691 divorce. Yeah.
If you were in Britain, you just have to poison your husband.
Right. Exactly. Apparently, I was trying to kind of figure out why. I saw that there was something about a public spat that the two of them had, and that Johann tried to get her back, but she said, nah.
Good for her.
So...
these last 2 episodes, I've been very anti-husband.
Kinda.
And 8 weeks from now, I'm getting married. So I should probably tone it down a little bit. But
it's a little bit of mix. It's a mix of both. There you go. But 8 years later, solo, on her own, she's now 52 years old, and she decides that she's going to go to Suriname in South America. Like you do. She's going to go there to study insects and plants. Would you like to know a fun fact about Suriname?
Sure.
Doesn't everybody want a fun fact about Suriname? Okay, so the Dutch controlled Suriname at this time. Okay, so it had a whole bunch of Dutch colonizers. And they were there because they traded Suriname with the English for Manhattan. Right? So the Dutch gave
New Amsterdam.
Right.
Got Suriname.
So the English got Manhattan, which they would then lose in 1776, and the Dutch got Suriname. Anyway, so Maria publishes a book about the creatures that she found in Suriname. It's about 60 engravings in the book, and it's called The Metamorphosis of Insects of Suriname. And I don't actually know if it had a German name to it or not. But the book was the very first illustrated account of any natural history in Suriname. So, woohoo! The book received much acclaim. At the time, people were super excited about it, thought it was beautiful and lovely. But then she was forgotten. Anybody want to know why?
Ovaries.
Yes, the patriarchy.
Because some man went to Suriname and published a inferior book.
I mean, you could just say because men. So, yes, people had a really hard time seeing women as scientists because we're talking like, you know what I mean, the 1600s here. So, yeah, whatever. Maria's book has been republished throughout the ages. It has survived. I did briefly look on the Amazon. It's like $90 to $120. But I mean, we're talking like a full color heavy, hefty college, or not college, but coffee table book. You know what I mean? So you're talking about a gorgeous one. Now, when Maria died, Peter the First, yes, Peter the Great, that Peter the Great, the Tsar of Russia, huzzah, bought her paintings and hired her daughter to do scientific drawings.
Peter, not Catherine.
The Great.
Peter.
The Catherine's husband's
her
father.
father,
The
yeah,
actual
okay.
great one.
That-
Yes,
that
the actual
one,
great
that
one.
one, okay.
Yes, not the worthless
Her
one.
great-grandfather.
Right. Yes. So Dorothea was the first woman to be employed by the Russian Academy of Sciences.
Nice.
So, you know what I mean? It kind of like, it continued. Also, Maria's daughter, Joanna, moved back to Suriname and became an artist in her own right as well.
Wow.
So, yeah, they kept with the scientists
because
and the
they,
art.
they married and bred with artists.
Right,
so that's
exactly.
how you get it in your family.
That is the
You're
blueprint.
breed with
I mean,
bread.
just stick to it, marry an artist, and like bugs.
Find a scientist woman, an artist man,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
so on and so forth.
History is made. So there
Her
was.
illustrations are gorgeous.
Aren't they
I was
pretty?
looking at them when I was researching
Do
today.
you
and
have
they're
any of them in your house? Because you
gorgeous.
have some line art drawings.
Not by her, but
Okay. Yeah.
I have a botanical type flower thing.
Yes.
Framed up a few places.
They're so gorgeous, and I,
I need
will, of
insects,
course,
though.
put them in the show notes.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell the ones that are hers because there's definitely going to be a plant and an insect in it. It's very much about the whole habitat. Although there is one in Suriname that became very popular, which is a alligator with a snake around it. That one doesn't have like plants and insects, like front
Gotta
page.
focus on the main event there.
It is very exciting though, and I have seen it as a coloring page too because her books it's in public domain.
That's awesome.
So people have made coloring pages out of her work,
Now I
and
have
so you
something
can
to Google when I get
yeah,
home.
you can color the alligator being. I don't know. They're
Strangled?
wrestling. Let me put it that way. I don't know who's winning on this crocodile snake fight. It seems to kind of be a tie, but it's
Well, when you
it's pretty
said
good.
she went from like Europe to South America, I was like, that's how she know which ones not to touch.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's one of our
I think she was-
forefathers that helped us figure that stuff out.
She was in a petticoat touching everything and asking the indigenous people to bring me stuff.
Look at that.
That's the one. Who's winning in this scenario? I mean, the crocodile does have, or the alligator does have, its teeth on the snake, but
Like, how did that happen? Who thought it would be a good idea to eat the other one?
Right.
In that situation.
they're both losing.
No, it's the mom. It's the snake was trying to eat the baby.
Oh, it's defending its egg.
Wait, They both lay eggs, though.
Oh.
Whose eggs are they?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, it has a little baby coming out.
Oh, just proof of life. Okay, there you go.
Oh,
Got
okay.
it.
That snake can
It's
just
full of
fuck
babies.
off. then.
Right. Because that's a mama alligator / crocodile. I don't know what they are down there.
I mean, you would just have to bite it in half, so I'm sure they've got this.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. It's just a little snake. But the curling around it like it's a freaking like ribbon on a stick.
Yeah.
Is quite amazeballs. So there is this wonderful piece about Maria in The Atlantic, and it really kind of like summed up her life and her work, and I just loved how they said it. So, quote, most European butterflies didn't even have a specific name when Maria began to study them, nor were they properly classified before Linnaeus imposed his order onto the natural world many years after her death. Maria was not interested in classification. She explained to an English collector, but only in the formation, propagation, and metamorphosis of creatures and the nature of their diet. Almost 2 centuries before the German zoologist Ernest Haeckel coined the term ecology. Maria published plates that depicted ecological communities. Did I also mention that Maria's work is 150 years before Darwin? So the origin of species, where we really started classifying stuff and giving them a whole bunch of Latin names, she was 150 years before that dude.
He may have had her books.
This is true because they were super detailed drawings. So next time you see, next time, she loves the snakes in that one. That one's a bird and a snake.
I like this one a lot.
But next time you see a line art drawing, like sometimes IKEA has some of them. Sometimes your home stores will have, the line art drawing. Just see if it's by Maria Salvia Martin, because it's public domain. They could easily reprint them, and they could keep her name on it. You know what I mean? So her name might even be on it. But there's some gorgeous
we got
stuff.
some tattoo ideas around here now.
This is very true. They could make some great tattoos.
Yeah, these are gorgeous.
Yeah, so she's a name that like I had never heard before, but I'm like, I know this work though. Like I just feel like I've seen it in a lot of home stores, but and Katie's house. I feel like the inspiration is also kind of in Katie's house. So I'm like, I want to dig deep and learn about the 1600s lady.
Yeah, that just seems. I don't know. To me, that just seems like the task of getting from Europe to Suriname would just be insurmountable.
It was supposed to be 5 years, like a 5-year expedition. She got sick after 2. So so she came back home after 2. But she was 52 years old in the 1600s when she committed to a 5-year tour of Suriname. So
it just seems like just getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, traveling now, you're like, I have to change planes twice. It's going to take like 14 hours.
Oh my gosh. This is going to take 3 months by ship.
Yeah.
Never known, what kind of disease of cholera and, all of the tuberculosis you're going to get when you get there. And yes. But yeah, she was amazing.
Indeed.
But yes, that is what I have about her. Katie, let me know what tattoo you're getting.
Okay.
We will not get matching ones because I believe that breaks up any friendship and or marriage. As soon as you get matching tattoos, it's done. I learned this from Johnny Depp and Wino Forever. I mean, Winona Ryder. You just don't do it, kids.
So safe.
Exactly. This has been a life skill lesson from Dr. Leah Leach. Okay, you want me to wrap it up?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week for another cool woman of history as the Gal's Guide podcast continues. Thanks for listening. For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gal's Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.